part of the Western world, the Enlightenment through the 19th century revolution in painting. This is clip 5 in our series. The purpose of this is to provide you with an opportunity to see what we're going to cover in the next few weeks. Let's begin by looking at Fragonard, The Swing. It's from 1766. It's an early work for this period, and what I want you to notice is the way in which art begins to swing, which is why I use this image, from one extreme to the other. So that we'll have a period of time where most of the work is dominated by, let's say, very loose and romantic and not political or serious work at all. And then the response to that would be that the very serious and classical, neoclassical work would be the response. This particular image then reflects the Enlightenment, but also a period that I like to call an age of pleasure. Here we see a woman who is clearly enjoying herself. Her skirts are raised, we can see her knees, her shoe is in the air, and her lover awaits her on the ground. And she's swinging in and out to his pleasure. Behind her, a figure that we don't see immediately, is a figure of the priest or the minister who is enabling her to swing in and out in this sort of sexualized dance. Now, you can imagine if this is what the age of pleasure represents, kind of soft colors, lots of lace, lots of satins and beautiful fabric, that the response to that is going to be very serious. And so here we have the response. This is by David, The Death of Marat. It's an image that is considered, it's called neoclassicist, as it represents the classical elements from Greece and Rome, somewhat represents some elements of Christianity, and this is a wonderful story, true story, of a man who was a writer with a horrific skin condition that required that he stay in water or in this bath at most times. He had a board over the bath where he would write. He was very involved in the French Revolution, and he was petitioned by a woman named Charlotte Corday. She wanted his approval to save her brother, who was going to be executed. And so she came equipped with a letter, which is here, and it's signed Charlotte Corday. She wanted to have him reconsider her brother's case. She came equipped with a knife as well, and when he did not show any indication that he was going to release her brother, she killed him. This actually all happened. This image then is painted by David. He makes him seem like a Christ-like figure, someone who's died very tragically. We see some elements of the chiaroscuro, remember from Caravaggio, that very light and dark with a bit of the grotesque or violent attached to it. So the image was then created almost like an altarpiece to the French Revolution and hung in their political chamber. From there we move to another period of time where politics dominates. This is from another true story, an actual event that happened. There was a ship called the Medusa. It was in a kind of battle to see who could get to a destination sooner between itself and another ship. Either through arrogance or lack of knowledge, the ship's captain permitted the ship to get too close to some rocks, and the ship was shipwrecked. There were boats on board, lifeboats, and those of privilege, including the captain, were all put into boats and were saved, while those without that kind of privilege were left to die on these rafts. And when this story came to light, it became a very political issue where the government of the period was brought under question due to it. The painting is enormous. The figures are life-size. Géricault was so intent on making people have a very strong impression from this that he went to the morgue and got bodies so that he had an idea of what they would look like in different positions, and as the mortification set in. Couldn't go further afield than looking here at a somewhat traditional female reclining nude painted by Manet in 1863. This nude is different, though, and this makes it somewhat the beginning of that modern period. So instead of showing her as a kind of vacant woman laying back to be viewed. She is actually a well-known prostitute of the period. She is looking directly at the viewer, which would be not the norm for this period. She seems to have placed her hand directly over her genitals as if to say, yes, this is what I do for a living, but only when I choose to. That made it shocking and modern. And also from the same period we see Monet, the Impressionism. This actual image was called Impressionism Sunrise, and the title of it became the title of the entire, or the name of the entire movement, Impressionism. Purpose of Impressionism is not to paint individual things that one sees as in clearly representational. The idea is to paint the effect of light. So one gets an impression of what the light would appear like, as opposed to an actual ship, for instance, here in the midground. These paintings were very small. They were painted outdoors, and that also made them unique and new. Towards the end of this period, we need to look at Van Gogh. Most of us know something about Van Gogh. Certainly we've seen this image or the sunflowers. Van Gogh was a painter, very prolific painter, very unsuccessful painter. And so he fits that stereotype that we have of the tragic genius. In Van Gogh's case, his brother kept him alive, basically fed him and kept him in paints. He did actually sell one painting in his lifetime, and it's ironic and kind of sad that his work sells for so much now, and that he's so well esteemed when during his own lifetime he couldn't garner any support for his work at all. So that takes us to the end of the very early modern period, and we will see you in class. I hope you enjoyed, and take care.